biggest misconception is that this is still a sector full of just one product, small cap, academic, binary companies. And actually it's a tour de force in its own right. It's $1 trillion sector. Many of the 10 biggest selling drugs in the world are biotech-derived drugs. If you look at where biopharma has come from, pharma has bought biotech companies over time and become biopharma companies rather than vice versa. And so, you've got a sector that offers growth, it offers defensive characteristics, and it offers innovation. And I think that, you can invest across large cap defensive businesses, smaller cap innovation and growth businesses, and also a new mid-cap sector that's emerged over the last 5 to 10 years to offer, good commercial launches as well as pipeline optionality. And so I think it's just a misconception of the kind of premise of the sector. It's a super, super interesting sector that's, making waves in terms of, medical progress, and that's been, that it's at its basis is formed to further biomedical science and to, successfully treat patients. Actually, we are experiencing that now as we speak. The two big potential risks to this sector is the US government getting involved in drug pricing and the FDA, which is the gatekeeper to the commercial opportunity in the US for most of these companies, being disrupted. And both of those things are happening as we speak. It looks as though Trump is getting involved in drug pricing, number one, and with Dodge and the cuts to the federal government, we have seen some significant cuts to the FDA. And so we're living and breathing that as we speak. And the sector is, certainly had a bit of a torrid time as the start to the year. And so, we're here to kind of hold investors' hands, to be, transparent about what's happening, and to give some reassurance on, the future opportunities for the sector right now. I think it's a really important time to be speaking to clients. I'm not sure it can get much worse than where we are right now. And so, in the near term, what do we need to see? We need to see that the cuts to the FDA are not disrupting drug approvals. So as we move forward over the next few months, if we see and when we see those FDA approvals come in, I think we'll see a nice rebound in the sector. We've already actually seen that in the second half of April. My view on pricing generally is that, although there's a lot of rhetoric and there's a lot of talk from the US administration, a lot of that will actually be very difficult to implement. But either way, those companies that are developing, drugs to treat patients that have no other options, that are effective, that are safe, run by good management teams that are asking rigorous scientific questions, that's where investors need to put their money behind. That's where we put our money behind. And, for me, that is the opportunity for those companies to be a success, and for good returns for clients. As I said, I've just looked back over the 25 years of the Candriam Biotech Fund and have pulled together so many examples of really very, very successful kind of treatments. We look at hepatitis C. We've now got a cure for hepatitis C, and the UK government is, focused on eradicating that from the UK, for example, by the end of the decade. We're well on the way to that. The HPV vaccine and the impact that that's had on cervical cancer in women, a significant impact there. Obviously, that's slightly longer than 25 years, but AIDS and HIV, and now the fact that HIV patients started early on therapy are now living, the same length of time as otherwise healthy people. The COVID pandemic, much more of a controversial topic, but one that, we wouldn't be here at this meeting if the pharma and biotech companies hadn't developed the drugs and vaccines to get us out of that. So, you know, alongside the masses of that's happening in technology and cell therapies in cancer, so there's a lot happened. The statistics on, you know, for example, cancer deaths and the reduction that we've seen there speak for themselves, but there's a lot more to do.